Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Chris Holt, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Now, if you're returning, good to see you again. But if you're new here, please consider subscribing or liking the video. I come out with new content for both my Camaro, like I'm doing today, and I have a WRX, and a bunch of other really cool content. I'm still small, so I do a lot of interactions with you guys. And if that sounds interesting to you, please hit that subscribe button. But before rambling on all about all that, I have a V6 Camaro, and today I'm gonna Brembo swap it. So if you haven't seen before, I drove down to Portland to pick up the Brembos, and then I spray painted them and got them all nice and cleaned up before putting them on the car. They were originally red and now they're green. But this is an in-depth guide on how to switch your V6 Camaro brakes to SS Brembo brakes. Everything in between, everything's explained in this video and exactly how I do it. This is a walk through step-by-step process that I try and follow through on the whole video. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, hit that like and let's get right into it. Okay guys, this is the car that I'll be doing it on. This is my 2010 Chevy Camaro V6. It does obviously still have the V6 brakes back in there. You can't see them, but trust me. So what I did is I got some used Brembo SS calipers off of an SS that had upgraded to ZL1 brakes. And here are the rotors that I got. They obviously aren't in perfect condition, but they're brand new. At least these guys are. Those ones have been used. And then I also got some Goodrich stainless steel braided brake lines. So super excited to do this. They're green, so if you haven't seen that video, it's gonna be up in one of these corners right there. I went from red to green. I got them red, which was super cool, but just didn't fit the vibe of my car right here, so I went ahead and I painted them green. Now, this isn't gonna be the easiest task, but what we're gonna start with is we're gonna jack up the car. I'm gonna start with the rear, so we're gonna jack up the back here, and then we're gonna take the wheels off both sides. I'll take you on the passenger side first, and then we'll go ahead, do the driver's side here, and I'll show you one side of each for the back, and then the front right there. So stick around and let's jack up the car, take the wheels off. All right guys, we're gonna jack the rear of the car now. Alright, so we went ahead, jacked her up, put her on a jack stand, give her a little shake test. We're good there. So I'll pull the jack out, and let's get to work getting these wheels off. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've taken the wheels off right there. I put the studs, or the nuts just right on the studs there, but that right there is the brakes. Got the wheels off right there, and got them off right there. And then coming around to the other side, we've done the same thing right here. So, next thing we're gonna do is try and remove the rotors right there, the calipers, the rotors, and I think first we start with the brake lines, but I'll get back to you in just a second. Okay guys, so the way that we're gonna be taking them off is we're gonna start with the line. Now, for me, I have started, now these are the rear calipers, so the line comes in right there at the chassis, has a mounting point right there, and then has in the back, behind the caliper, it has itself an attachment point. Now for me, it's a 7/16 on the back right here, and it's right about halfway down the caliper, maybe a little bit more on the back. I took it off right here, and make sure a little bit of brake fluid comes out. I tried to do my best to catch it. It also has two little washers on there, but I took that bolt out, took the line off the, then reattached the bolt to the caliper so no more fluid would spill out of the caliper. So next we gotta take this guy off right here, and then further up there, and I'll let you know how to do those two little steps next. Okay, so in that last clip, I forgot to mention that right on there, there's a U-clip right, let's see, there, that guy. So this tab right here, we're gonna try and pull that out. It's just a little U-clip right there, And then we're gonna take the 10mm that is holding right here so that the brake line is free from here before we actually go detaching it from the car itself. Okay, so as you can see, the line is off. I've removed the bolt back here, the 7/16, the 10mm right here, and the U-clamp that was up here. And so this is what it looks like. Pretty simple, self-explanatory. Went in with a flathead screwdriver like this, pried it on out, and now as you can see, the line is loose and we have access to this. But before we start tearing apart the rotor and the caliper and rotor right here, we gotta take this off. So we're gonna use something to brace that and get a box wrench for that right there and split them off here between the rubber line and the plastic line up there. Okay guys, so we have this 10mm right here to get, and then these right here is gonna be with a 14 and a 13. So 14mm is gonna be the bottom, and you're just gonna pry that on there, and then the top is gonna be a 13mm, and you're just gonna twist them. Basically the bottom's holding it from spinning, and that's all it's gonna be to get the line off. Once you get this guy fully loose, the bottom will come off with that 10mm, pull that one off as well. So then, just like that, you should have that line completely off. And just like that, guys, this stock rubber line is out. We're good. Okay guys, here is the line that I just took off, and here is the line I'm replacing it with. It's gonna be a stainless steel, these are Goodrich braided lines, and so make sure on the kit it says rear or whatever it is. This one does in fact say rear, if we can read it. Maybe not. Trust me, it does say rear. So that's the rear one. So what we have to do before putting that on, which is our next step, we have to come to this line, the one that we just took off, and we have to take off this portion right there, because we do need to mount it to the car right up there. Now I put the bolt back in, just an easy 10mm, easy to do it that way, and same with right there on the post. I do it that way so I don't forget it, but we're gonna pull that off, put it on right there, or in fact on this side right here, so that we can attach it back up to the car right there. Okay guys, so this top one right here, we put the 10mm back on, and the top is still gonna be the 13 that it was last time, but the bottom is actually bigger for this Goodrich stainless steel line. And this is a 3/4, so I just have the box wrench on there, or just a standard open-ended on both sides, and I'm gonna tighten it down to as tight as I can get it, because you want this thing pretty dang tight, otherwise you're gonna have fluid leaking through here, and that's not a good day for you. That gets air in the system and it leaks some fluid, not ideal. So I'm gonna get that tightened up, and then we're gonna leave the line on here but not attached, because we are then gonna take the caliper off and then the rotor. Alright, so make sure to put your U-clamp on right there, your C-clamp or whatever you wanna call it. Button that all up, that's good. Then grab a 5/8 right here, and there's gonna be 2 spots on the caliper in the back that you're gonna have to get these guys off. Now they take quite a bit, so you're gonna wanna double them up. I already broke them loose, but you're gonna get them both off, so then you'll be able to take the caliper off. Alright guys, so I got them off, and now you kinda gotta pry it off. Ideally you'd take these guys off, but just pulling them off works good like that. Now there will probably be some brake fluid in here, so you kind of want to set it aside, out of the way. But there you go, we have our stripped fully down to our rotor right here. You're going to want to find this guy right here. Each side has their own, and we're going to try and take that out, and we should be able to shimmy it off. Now I know I put these lugs back on, but you could just take them off, and we'll be able to pull the rotor completely off right there and be stripped down, ready to put the new rotor on. But the problem is, since the new rotor is significantly bigger than these, especially, or only in the rear, we have this brake shield right here. Now you could go out and you could buy an SS brake shield for maybe $100, maybe even less, but I'm gonna kind of do it the backyard way that a lot of V6 owners do, and we're gonna cut this off right here with a little bit of I believe an angle grinder, and so it throws up a lot of sparks, looks pretty cool, but we're gonna go ahead and cut that guy off after taking this guy right here and working our rotor off. Okay guys, I did jump a little bit ahead, but I'll explain to you where I got. So there was this keyway right there that we took out. It's just a star bolt, and then we used a side angle grinder, I believe is what it's called, to cut off the dust shield. But I didn't do that until I had removed the rotor, which comes off like so. And there you have the old rotor, and then this is post cut, but I got a couple really cool clips of it middle of the cut. So let's play that now, and then we'll get you caught up and ready to reinstall. Okay guys, as you can see, this right here is going to be our new rear rotor, and these right here are what come on their stock V6. So this is what we got now. We've cut the flange and everything, and we're about to put this one on in place of this one. So if you want to look at the size difference, it's quite a bit bigger in the rear. Even though the calipers in the front are bigger than the rear, the rotor is much bigger in the rear. I think it's actually 0.2 inches bigger than the front rotors, so that's something that's really interesting. So make sure you put the bigger rotors on the rear of your car, and just like that, let's go ahead and install them. Okay, we're gonna grab our rotor here, we're gonna line it up, and then just slide it on in there. Next up, the calipers. Okay guys, something that I forgot to mention is, and I didn't even do when I put the rotor on here, is line up the keyway right here. This bolt right here needs to line up. There's one on there, but yeah, make sure that gets lined up before you put this on, and then put your caliper on so that you can go in and throw that in there. Now as you can see, the dust shield would not have clearance for these larger rotors in the back, and that is why we needed to cut them. So just like that, now let's get ahead and put the caliper on there. Alright guys, we have our brake caliper right here and our bolts that we're going to use to attach it. Now ideally you might want another person to help you out. I'm going to put these in here and get them just started. Obviously throw them here. Gonna be kind of hard getting them lined up, but you want to do the best you can. That's why having a third person or a third set of hands would be nice. Want to make sure that that's fully in there, and yeah. Okay guys, so we got the caliper on, and I attached it with the two 5/8 bolts on the back. Now next thing we got to do is attach the new steel braided line, and then from there we're going to put the pads in, the hardware in, the pins in, and then we're going to bleed the brakes, and then that should be done for this side. Alright guys, we got the brake line on right there, 7/16 on the back. We got brake pads in, put the pins in on the side. So basically what you got to do is come see these guys right here on the other side. They have little pins. You smash them on through. Make sure you line it up with your brake pads, and you should see just a little bit of it showing right there. That way they're in and secure. And now next thing we got to do is bleed the brakes. Alright, so we got the brakes bled, and now we're going to go ahead and put the wheels back on. The rear should be done. Obviously, if you haven't done this already, do it on the other side and just repeat all the steps that we said. But got the back Brembo swapped. And now guys, we got the wheel installed. You can see the caliper behind it. Looks super good. I'm gonna do the other side and drop it down and see how it looks when sitting down. Alright guys, so we got the car lowered, got the wheels on, and let me tell you, I think they look stellar. I mean, they just go so well with the car. It's super filthy right now because it's been in the garage for a little bit, but they look really, really cool. And these are just the rear, so just like that guys, let's go ahead and let's get started on the fronts. Okay guys, we got the rear done. Now let's get ahead and get started on the fronts. Now I've already done the driver's side, so this is on the passenger side, and I'll take you fully through and give you guys tips from what I learned from doing the other side and all of that. So first thing you're going to want to do is obviously take off the wheel, and I'll catch you guys after that. Alright, so once the wheel is off, I turned it, since I'm working on the passenger side right here, I turned it all the way to the left in order to get the 16mm bolt, or 18mm bolts on the back that hold the caliper in. It definitely takes some force, so get yourself like a cheetah bar or something. We got ours right there. And then get those two off, top and bottom. The caliper will come off, and then, but know that the brake line is still attached, so we got to get that at the car that's next. And then there's a little star bolt right in on the rotor right there. Take that one out and the rotor should come right off. But after we get the caliper all loosened up, not off, we'll take the brake line off and we should be good to go there. So what we're gonna do right here is use the 14mm for the bottom, right here where the rubber hose goes into the car. And then we're gonna use a 13 on the top. Here, let me get my light. And then we're gonna pull opposite each other, and we're gonna loosen the rubber hose off of the car. Alright, so we did the exact same thing to get this new stainless steel brake line on. I got my kit from Goodrich, and since I have new hardware, I'm not detaching the old rubber line from the caliper itself. But since we've already got the 16mm or the 18mm bolts loose, we're gonna take those off, caliper off. During the meantime, I got this guy loose right down here. Take that off, and we should be good to go before putting the stuff back on. Alright, so we're just taking this last guy out. Alright, here it comes. And then obviously got the caliper off, and now we're gonna plop the rotor here. And there you go, that's the hub. And we're just about ready to put the other stuff back on. Alright, so we got the big rotor back on. We're gonna get the caliper on, and just be very careful, especially with mine. I'm a little bit paranoid about it because I spent a lot of time getting it right. But on the back, you're just gonna want to line up the holes, use your bolts, line it up. It's kind of hard to see, but you're gonna do your best, and then get the bolts threaded back in. All you gotta do is start it before working on the bottom one, and then once you get this going, get it tighter, and then we can put the brake line on it. So what we've done is we put the brake line up top again, and then what we have to do is route it here all the way to the back. I got the 2/18s already punched in, and then this one right here is a 7/16, and we're getting this tightened down to here, to the new caliper, so that way it'll all work out. We'll get this. You want to relatively get your brake line lined up right here as much as you can. Now I know it's all the way turned left right now, but you want to just keep that in mind for after. Once you tighten this guy down right here, we got to get it tightened down to the strut. Then we'll throw in our brake pads and bleed the brakes, and we should basically be done. I mean, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Alright, so we got the pads in, and we're putting the backs in right there. So the top one's got its pin in, and then we put that little clip or whatever on the back, put that all the way through. Gonna get the bottom one in, put that clip down, and we should be good to go to bleed and everything. Alright guys, we got these puppies bled, and so what I made sure to do is bleed each side as it goes. So this was the last side that I did, but let's say when I did the rear, I bled that side before putting the wheel back on, then started on that side, then bled, then did this side, bled, and this side. So basically It's nighttime right now, otherwise I'd take the car out and show you what it looks like. But this is what we got in the back right there. You can barely see it, it just pokes through. And since these are 19-inch HREs, I wanted to make sure that they had the clearance. I was kind of concerned because people on the forums and all that say, oh, well, you need 21s or 20s to clear like the stock ones. Now, sorry, the wheels are turned, but it actually does clear, and I'm super happy about that. And they look pretty good. I stripped a stud on this side, otherwise I'd take it out and continue to show you guys what goes on the end here. But I'll put this wheel back on this side right here. But I just wanted to really emphasize to you guys, it's way easier to bleed each brake individually and go as you're doing it, instead of doing them all at once, or the fronts at once, or the backs at once, because you know you're gonna have air in the system because we're changing out the lines and the calipers and the rotors and everything. Now, could you reuse the factory V6 lines? Probably. Yeah, you probably could, but you know, you probably want to get an SS line or a stainless steel braided line like I do. I got the Goodrich line. Now, I got these brakes off of an SS, and the guy was actually doing a ZL1 brake upgrade to his car, so that's pretty sweet. But that's how I got these for a good price. I definitely am super glad that I painted them green. Definitely watch that video if you haven't already. And just like that, I'll get this last wheel on and then meet you guys up in my room. Okay, so there you have it. My V6 is now SS Brembo swapped. So easy that you guys could even do it. Well, it's not the cheapest out there. It's actually not that bad. Go ahead, find a set off of a used car, maybe a wrecked one. The one that I got was from a good friend of mine in Portland who has an SS Camaro, and he ZL1 swapped his. So he was getting rid of the brakes anyway, and I just happened to be the one to find them and pick them up. So you can find all the deals out there. Search Facebook, search the forums, search anything you can, and I'm sure you can find one. As far as the reason why I went and did it was because I think now that they're green, they look really cool, way better than the factory V6 brakes, and they're going to provide a lot more stopping power from that one piston caliper originally on the V6s, all around one piston, to the 4 pistons all around. It's going to be a huge difference, and I'm really excited to get out, even just daily driving it, seeing the major differences to me. Now, I could go out and track a car. That's not really what I've done in the past, but who knows. 2021 could be a brand new year for a bunch of stuff. Just let me know what you guys want to see in the comments down below, and I will be more than happy to do it. As far as the Camaro goes, I got a bunch of mods lined up in the garage, ready to come. Now, I know I've spent a couple weeks off of YouTube, but I'm going to be back and better than ever here soon, doing at least 1 video a week. I'm going to try and do 2 or 3 if I can. And there's modifications, community news, car stuff, car shows, everything. It will all be covered on this channel. So if that sounds interesting to you guys, please hit that subscribe button. I really enjoy growing and meeting all of you guys. So I'm hoping to hit a big number by the end of the year. I know I'm about a year in, so 160 subscribers is huge for me. Thank you guys so much for your love and support. And just like that, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.